Welcome back. Luke Smith here. I love finding tenants for properties and working on real estate deals. So today, Big B Coffee. This is on the screen here. Some good looking coffee drinks in the background. I don't even drink coffee and I still think they look good. We're talking about Big B Coffee because they're a potential tenant for properties. You have the right property, you can sign Big B up as a tenant. I'd like to study some different angles of how to land a Big B and what it might take to get the perfect property to have Big B as a tenant. So let's jump into it. I created a little page here. I came up with the top 5 Big B locations. I studied the numbers, who's getting the most customers, which Big B locations are getting the most customers. This might not be 100% accurate, but I'm sure these are some of their most likely top locations from the data that I can find. And I think by studying these top locations, we can learn what they're doing, what it is, what makes these locations great, and see if there's some commonality between them. Go look for other locations that we could feed to Big B. Before I jump into these, let's talk a little bit more about Big B. I pulled up Crexy.com. Crexy.com is a website that I love to use to look at the markets and see what's for sale, what's for rent, all that kind of stuff, especially commercial real estate properties. I found two different Big B deals that are on there that are live right now. The first one that's on the screen, this is a Big B in Fremont, Ohio. This property, they did a deal to lease it to Big B. It's a ground lease. So somebody had the land and they signed a contract with Big B or a Big B franchise to come and build the building on the property and start selling coffee. There's probably some timeline in there that signed up and then make it happen. Later, they start selling coffee and they start paying rent. So on this particular deal, they got 17, almost $18,000 in rent a year. That's not very much for a commercial property deal. They're calling this a bite-sized deal. That's probably why it's still on the market. It's been on the market almost a year, not a year, but almost a year. They're asking about $300,000 for this property. It's paying about a 6% rate of return. If you were to pay the sticker price on this, you were pay that $300,000. You could collect rent on it over time. They've got 13 years remaining on a lease, and they probably extend from there. And you get the rent probably goes up a little bit over time. And at today's rates, it's about a 6% yield. It's better than some of the bank accounts that are out there, and you can get depreciation. Well, this is a ground rate, so maybe you don't get depreciation. But there, lots of these deals are more tax beneficial than just putting it in a CD. And you have to talk to your accountant about the details on that. But generally, they're more tax efficient. There's lots of ways you can play these deals and orchestrate these deals to make them better going forward. There's more levers to pull than a CD in the bank account, right? So this is one of the deals. And if we take a look at this one, if we jump into Street View, if it'll work for me, we can see what's going on here in this property. So this one, this is not one of the top 5 that we're going to study. This is just one that's up for sale. And it's got a Napa next door. It's got some Lee's down there, which is a barbecue house. It's one name I see. Doesn't have a whole lot of big names in that area. Copper Penny, what is that? Like a laundry wash or something? I don't know. There's gas station and a lot of mom and pop, or maybe there might be a Rally's down the street. Probably a lower income area. I'm guessing. I haven't studied this one well enough to say. But just by looking at what's happening, this isn't like your normal hip hop happening retail sector place of town to go make stuff happen. Maybe that's why they got the lower rent. They got the deal. They still made the deal happen. I'm not saying none of these properties work if the neighbors aren't hopping, but if we're going to get the highest rent for one of these, we want to see what it is that makes that area. Okay, so this other one that's up for sale is a Big B, and it's under construction. It's next to an Aldi. They've got an Aldi going in next door. They got a new O'Reilly's. It looks like it was just built on the main drag. Uh, they got the freeway over here with 25,000 cars a day. I think that's the freeway. And then they've got a bunch of brands next door. They've got McDonald's and Culver's and KFC and Wendy's, Burger King, Arby's, like names you've heard of, right? A whole stringer of them up and down the road here. And a new Aldi going in next door. Aldi's growing gangbusters, putting in locations all over the place. That's going to be a driver of traffic. People will come in or go to the Aldi, probably from a big area around it. This part of Michigan's relatively rural, and it's probably got a big draw from the big area with people. And some of them will go shop at that Big B. And so these guys are asking $1 million. Why do they get $1 million for their Big B when the other one was $300,000? Well, it's all about the rent. So the rent on this one, they did a deal. So the landowner Probably the same people that are got the deal to do the Aldi and the O'Reilly next door cut this property out, and they're feeding it up to Big B. And so they did a deal, it looks like a ground lease kind of deal, and 15-year contract. They're doing $72,000 a year in rent instead of, I think it was 18 if I remember my numbers right on the previous one. They're asking for a 7 cap or a 7% kind of yield on their money. So if you paid the $1,000,000 for it in today's markets, you'd get about a 7% return on your money by holding on to that thing over time. And it probably goes up in rent over time. You could probably pull some different levers over time to maybe make it better in lots of different ways if you're creative enough. And that's the deal. We got some options to go from there. If I was the landowner or if I had land, which I have had land in the past, and I love to do it, go reach out to these kinds of names, say, hey, I want you to build on my property and go here. Big B got back to me on one of the properties, said, yeah, we love it. And we passed by the people that make decisions. And yeah, this is great. We want to put a Big B here. But we've got a franchisee that wants to go for it. And that particular deal kind of fizzled out in the ability of the franchisee to go for it. But Biggie replied and they said yes, and they were positive and they tell me what they want, tell me what they need, and help me pull it off, right? I like Big B brand. I like Big B as a tenant for that. I understand their entrepreneurial spirit or some of the franchisees don't pull through and make it. Maybe I can get Big B on a different one. So that's why we're studying. Let's go look at the top 5 Big B and see what makes those locations awesome. This one is bragging about being a top 5 performing location. Maybe they got their numbers from somewhere else. I didn't see this location in the top 5. I was looking at the top 5 over the last year. This one looks like it was just built and just opened. Maybe it says when they just opened on here. It says it was built in 2023. Your picture looks like it's still under construction. There's different data sets, so it's probably one of the top ones, but maybe it's not the same top 5 that I came up with top 5. So let's go back to the top 5 that I came up with my data sets. The number 1 location had like 70,000 visits a month is in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So we're going to open this up in Google Maps. I like using Google Maps. Big B is based out of Michigan. They're based out of Lansing, I believe. They've been spreading and they've been growing around the Midwest and expanding out from there in lots of different directions. This is Meyer in Michigan, Meyer in the Midwest. Meyer is the classic grocery store to go to in Michigan, right? You can buy your they used to sell shotguns. I don't know if they still do. I was gonna say shotguns to meat, to groceries, to gardening supplies, and everything else in between, furniture, you name it. It's like Walmart above and beyond, and then some. Meijer just lots of times you look at the numbers, a Meijer and a Walmart next to each other, and Meijer will do better numbers. Like they're outdoing the big Walmarts, and they've been around for a while and they're still growing. Maybe someday I can do a deal with Meijer, get a Meijer on some of my land, but right now, this one is a Big B that we're looking at. So Big B is in the parking lot of this Meijer. I'm usually studying these things to figure out how much they paid for the land because I'm trying to structure my deals around logical numbers. How does it work and everything? But looking at this one, I don't think it's going to make sense to work out how much they paid for the land. They probably had the land. So if you're the landlord of Meijer, you could probably just sell an out parcel here. It looks like they've got a lot of parking in the parking lot. Maybe you have to talk to the local city, county, whoever, and say, hey, we don't need as much parking as we have here. Even when it snows, we still have room to plow all the snow over there. It looks like they sold some, or they leased some off to Jiffy Lube and they leased some off to Big Beat. They got a deal and maybe they did cut it out. Or this one isn't for sale. Sorry. I was going to say if it was for sale, maybe they did cut it out and sell it off, but it's not. It's just out parcel in Meijer parking lot. Now we've got a big auto wash here, credit union. This looks like a KFC or an AutoZone, a couple drive-throughs. We've got the auto parts, consumers credit union. You got a couple credit unions, oil change, some fast food, like these typical kinds of neighbors that you hope to see in a retail quarter. But I think the main thing about this is it's in the Meijer parking lot. So let's look at the next one. If we look at a number of these, I think we'll start to see resemblances of each other. So the second one is pulling up here. I think that previous one said like 70,000 customers a month. This one is more like 50,000 customers a month. I'm going to forget the number, but it's significantly less, but still a lot of people like to go to Big B. Big B does good service. They get to know your name. They get to know your dog's name. They hand you a treat for your dog. Like they bring the customers back. The customers that go to Big B, they go in the morning, they go in the afternoon, they go a couple times a day and they keep refilling their drinks. That's a beautiful thing. You got high fidelity customers like that. When you look at the numbers, how often the customers come back, the numbers are really high. They keep coming back. The same people, they keep coming back. So you build that customer base. They keep coming back and they tell their friends and some others add on. You get some one-offs in between, but generally it's a lot of high return. Those people will go to grocery stores and they shop at the grocery store for the next 2 days worth of meals instead of the next 2 weeks worth of meals. I believe that's probably what's happening here because we're in a parcel of another Meijer. So another Meijer does crazy traffic. Look at the size of this parking lot on the Meijer. There's a ton of people there. We zoom in, we got Jimmy John's in front of it. We've got the gas stations, more gas stations, Dollar Tree, Starbucks. We got a Starbucks going in across the road. They're going to give Big B a run for it. Big B gets their customers and they grab onto it tight. It's a great place for a Big B is across from Starbucks. Great place for Starbucks across from a Big B. You can say the same thing about half a dozen other coffee shops too. There's a Tim Hortons across the street. We've got a couple different coffee places going for it. I bet you if we ran down the numbers of some of these other coffee places, they would be really high performing coffee places as well. I'm guessing high performing coffee places happen next to high performing coffee places. So far, I'm seeing Meyer and Meyer. Let's go back to the list. The number three. Number three, this one is in Lansing, Michigan. So I think this is their headquarters area. And look at that. There's Meyer. This is maybe a smaller Meyer, or maybe it's not zoomed in as much. Maybe if I zoom in some more, it'll look like a bigger Meyer. There's a huge parking lot in front of Meyer. Half of it's filled with cars. That's a lot of people. We've got Culver's out front. It looks newer the way their plants and everything are. And that's it. Where's the rest of them? I mean, they are living off of the Meijer. Like the traffic in here is Meijer. They're right in front of Meijer. Meier's coming and going. We're pointing at a piece of dirt. Let's look at some street view. This is a brand new one. It's not in the satellite view. Let's see if we can find it. Or is it in the gas station? The other one for standalone, there's it's next to it. So it's Meijer, in between the Meijer gas station and the Meijer, we've got big Culver's. Culver's has a line around the corner. They're doing a good business. Now let's see if we can zoom into this big piece. And so the dates on this, 2017, it's not there. Like it's a piece of dirt. Nobody wants to take care of that. I'd rather have somebody paying rent than more landscaping. Don't ask me about landscaping, girls. Vacant land. Okay, so where'd it go? I'm still 2017. It's not there, so it's a pretty recent one here. 2023 Street View. Yeah, it's there. So sometime between 2017 and 2023, I could jump into the data and get more precise. But just looking at Street View, pretty easy, fast. It's a relatively newer Bigby. Maybe I could take this time to talk about the shape of this thing. They do some different shaping to it, but the building is basically it's built in a warehouse and they bring it in on a truck. So if we had this land, let's say somehow we got a piece of land from Walmart or whoever developed the Walmart, and we got this piece of grass in the middle, and now I assumed our work. But so let's say we got this piece of dirt or this piece of parking lot, and we went to Big B and we said, Big B, this is an awesome place for you. It's right in front of another nice big Walmart. Look at there's Meijer and there's Meier's gas station. Like, heck yeah, let's put another Big B in here. Look at your other top Big B. That's where they are, right in front of Meijer. They say, okay, this looks good. How much do we pay? What's the terms? We start negotiating. If we had that piece of dirt, we could say, okay, we'll bring in the water, the power, the sewer. 'Cause they probably have a bathroom in there and stuff to cook and internet and the utilities. We'll get the utilities to the right spots for your design. You bring in the building and you set it up. If we have the land and we're willing to capitalize, bringing in the utilities, putting in the blacktop cement, whatever they require for that location, and get it so they could bring in the building. They bring it in on a truck and they set it up in a day or two. You're putting it together, put some lipstick on it, and plugging it in basically, and waiting, twiddling your thumbs for the city to come inspect it, make sure it's okay to open for business. Vast majority of the time, it's just getting the governmental bureaucracy to happen. It's not about building it. It's not about clearing or setting up the site. The utilities are already going to be here in this area. You're already going to have a drainage plan in the parking lot, how to get the water out of here. You're already going to have a way to get the trash out of here. You already have lighting. There's lighting all over the place. You already have somebody taking care of the grass and the trees, and that part's already set up. I see a power box right next to it. So they put a power line underground or tapped into one. and you do the deal. So for owning the land and not putting up a whole lot of capital, you can increase the value of that land immensely. Like maybe you had one of these properties for $200,000, let's say, and then did the deal like these guys, like this example, and you got $72,000 a year rent and went put it on the market and asked $1 million for it. Maybe you put $100,000 fixing up the land. Maybe you're 300,000, maybe 200,000 into the land, 100,000 into fix up. After you got the agreement with these guys, you can borrow the money based on their name and the deal for the fix up if you had to, and then you could go put it on the market for $1 million and keep the difference. That's a good way to add value to land. Let's look at some more of these. Let's open this one in Detroit. It's on Grand Boulevard, Detroit. A lot of the streets here have lots of traffic. I didn't start studying the traffic on these demographics or getting into other details of these deals. I'm just doing some satellite views, looking for similarities. Ooh, this one's different. It's like a hospital? Yeah, Henry Ford Hospital. So this one wouldn't fit the bill. This wouldn't be a land play. This would be if I own the hospital or I own the airport or something, I could talk to them and get one to go in there. You got McDonald's and other things around the area. Maybe there's a piece of land around other hospitals that would work for one of these deals, or maybe you could master lease a piece or a shop or something in another hospital and then sublease it to Big Pete and get a deal like this. This one's a little more complicated than today's video. Let's look at the next one. This is the best example, but it's on there because it's one of the top five, and you learn from what you see, right? Okay, let's go to number five. This is another grocery store. It looks like yes, we got McDonald's, another restaurant, Chinese food, Arby's, gas station. This parking lot is like microscopic compared to the Meyer ones we were just looking at. This is a smaller something. There's a Burger King over here. Let's take a look at this one street view. If I get it on the street, it's probably going to be fresher data than in the parking lot. There's our Shell. There's a McDonald's. There's, oh, Tom's Food Center. Okay. There we go. There's Speedway. So this is, there's Burger King. There's the Arby's. Tom's is a grocery store that's, I believe, very Michigan-centric grocery store. I haven't been to a Tom's in a long time. I remember the last time I was at a Tom's. I don't know if this story is appropriate or not, but it's a part of being a dad, right? My daughter she's 13 now. She was probably 2 or 3 at the time. It's probably 10 or 11 years ago. I was in the Tom's in northern Michigan, Traverse City, Michigan. The Tom's that I'm thinking about is closed now. It's probably my family cabin. My daughter messed up her pants and things, and she was wearing a dress and couldn't really tell, so I got rid of the stuff underneath. I had to get supplies, so I'd run around the grocery store with the cart, and the cart didn't have a seat. It was like you had a place for the little kid to sit, but the wire mesh stuff goes right through. She kept having a problem. It got on my shoes, it got all over the floor, and I was going down the aisle, and oh man, that was so embarrassing. It was like streaked up down the whole aisle, and I was just trying to get the last of whatever and get out of there. I never went back. That was the last time I went to Tom. Sorry, clean up on aisle 4. Let's get out of here. That was the last time I was at Tom's. But this Tom's is here. It's a grocery store. It's the same idea as the Meijer. It's not in the Meijer parking lot or right next to the Meijer parking lot, but it's where people go to the store again and again and again. Hopefully they don't have missing diaper problems like I had at the store and keep it clean and awesome for people to get their coffee, right? This looks like an inline kind of one. So what is that? 3 out of 5 are in Meijer or really close proximity to Meijer, just right out parcel of Meijer. So what if we took that idea and we studied Meijer and we looked at all the Meijer locations that don't have a Big B, or maybe Meijer locations that don't have a Big B, but they have an awesome Starbucks or an awesome different coffee place, and look for land around those and got the right piece of land. Maybe we could get it under contract and we could go talk to Big B and say, hey, Big B, I got a location for you, and we get them on board and they say, yeah, I like this location. We could buy that property. We could do the improvements to the property and we could get um, Bigby in there to go build the building. So they put this together on pieces off a truck and get that installed on the property really quick and pay in rent. Go sell it for a bunch more money. This is one concept of many. Cover lots of these in the school community if you want to go check in, or free community on school, do some teaching about different deals. I love to talk about different deals. There's a link in the description below. Please feel free to jump in there and go learn more about the school community. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something about Big B. Please feel free to throw questions in the comments or on the school community. We can look at other properties and other brands in the future. See you in the next one.